Hello everybody! I absolutely love this game, just so you know. But you see, a lot of people were moving to Final Fantasy XIV recently, and it's a game that I played 5,600 hours in, and I kinda feel like if I would have the chance to do it all over again, I might just choose not to do it all over again. I thought, let's have a sit down in between me doing my currently 2 jobs that I am engaged in, and let's talk MMOs and let's talk about the worlds that never stop changing and that eventually leave you behind. You see, this is my house. And if you want to keep a house in Final Fantasy XIV, you kind of have to be active or else it gets demolished because everything has finite space and it's not in an instance. Hence why I even have a subscription right now, and I am very, very torn on that because you see, I do not have the time to play. And I haven't had the time to play for a very, very long time, and sometimes something happens where either somebody links a raid video or somebody links music, and this game, my god, this game has absolutely great, fantastic music. It has fantastic visuals, it has great music, I love the atmosphere, the main story is really engaging once you pass Realm Reborn. Raiding in it is fun, but it is a world that never stops changing, and that hasn't stopped changing for the last 7 years. There is more story to do every 3 months. If you decide to own property in this game, like I did because I was heavily engaged in it, you have to be logging in at the very least every 90 days or so, or they will demolish your house. You're stuck. You're stuck, and you're stuck with the guilt of I am not keeping up. Or the guilt of if I do not log in, they will demolish my house and I will lose everything that I have in the game. And you can't just take that time off effectively. You can log in less for a period of time, but you will still be logging in, or you will get to a point where you're just gonna cut the game off entirely. But even when you cut the game off entirely, people will still be throwing videos at you and music at you and everything, and you will remember how much time you spent on it and how much fun you had spending time on it, and you will want to return, but the game has moved on without you. The game has moved on at a fairly fast pace, and it will never stop moving on, so you will be stuck playing catch-up. You will come back and you will do the leveling and you will do the gear grind, and you will probably be stressed out about that in order to just get to where your friends are. And maybe you're gonna go and have some fun with it for a while, but then once again, the moment you leave, you're gonna fall behind. And it's the never-ending churning. And I suppose if you could leave with no strings attached, as in the game didn't tell me to log in order to refresh my house every 3 months, or else I will lose it, and I don't really want to lose my house because these things are very, very hard to get, and I have some items that actually cost real-world money, like this portrait, and I would lose it all if I just stopped logging in, and I am not prepared to make that commitment yet, because that is effectively me saying I am not returning to this game ever, so I'm not at a stage where I'm prepared to do that just yet. But it's a game of high intensity. It is a game of high fun, but it is a game that might also leave you with the never-ending anxiety of I have been left behind. And I would need to be playing catch up. And I do not have the time to do it. And I've been talking about this with other people that I know, and I was like, maybe I should resubscribe to Elder Scrolls Online because I remember having fun in it. Maybe I should just return there for a while. And my group said, no offense, but with your time commitments, with the amount of time that you have for video games, which is, by the way, about 3 hours a week probably, and I tend to be very non-committal on where I spend them. I tend to spend them on single-player games just because I can enjoy them at my own pace. They were like, no offense, but MMOs are really not for you. Oh, cool. I wonder what happened there. I wonder one of my cats tripped the Ethernet wire. Oh well, I mean, the main menu is also a good place to talk about stuff. Or actually, I can just have at and, for the time being, give you a nice view of the lake. Because, you know, lakes are nice and stuff. By the way, I did refresh my house again, so I can afford to sit on the screen right now for... I don't need to keep on thinking about my house or the fact that I only have 14 subscription days remaining. But yes, MMOs are just this wonderful pit that never stops moving, and once you engage in them, it is a whole different experience. It is a great social experience, but you gotta not stop engaging them. And if you ever arrive at a point in your life where you can no longer engage in them, like I have, you're gonna feel upset about that and somewhat guilty and stressed and overall unhappy. It's not something that you can just drop in and drop out of. And I would love for more games to be such low commitment where you can just drop in and drop out of, that are especially of social nature. Or I like socializing. I like spending time with my buddies, with my friends. But if MMOs were done for people like me, it would mean that the people that keep these games running, the people like Asmongold, the people that never miss a subscription month, people that do not log off and just continue going, these people would run out of things to do. You can't really please both player bases at the same time, meaning in current time, MMOs are not for me. And honestly, I kinda wish I never got to play them to begin with, just so that I stop feeling that missing feeling of it is a good game, and I do miss it. Because I do miss it. I miss Final Fantasy XIV. I do. But it is not something that I can return to. For example, right now I'm spending 9 minutes recording this video before I go back to do some more orders and to do my nightly prayers and to head to bed in order to start tomorrow all over again. There are main scenario quests that I'm behind on, but they include dungeons, and it's 3 AM right now. Who am I gonna recruit for a dungeon at 3 AM? I would have to wait in a queue, and I would have to be able to dedicate like 30 minutes in one sitting. And that's not the luxury that I can afford all that often these days, and not a luxury that I can afford at human hours when people tend to be online. And it's just something that I have to live with. So if I could do it all over again, Despite all the friends that I made, despite all the memories that I made. Oh, cool. My cat's it looks kind of funny inside the green over there. Despite all of that, just knowing how much of a time suck it is permanently, I might have just not engaged in it to begin with. Just so that I do not have that thing to miss. And single player games or games that you can host on your own computer, or even MMOs that used to be casual, like when I left Guild Wars 2, they hit a bit different. They had complaints. I mean, Guild Wars 2 had complaints that it did not have enough things to do for your hardcore audience, and on their very first expansion, what, 3-4 years after release, they decided to introduce raiding, and that is the time when I left the game, because the game took a 180-degree turn. I remember that fondly, but I also remember being able to disengage from the game because the game didn't change much, despite having living story updates that if you missed it, they were gone, like completely gone. You just couldn't relive it. But it would, to me, it was on the level of a Christmas event. It was there, it passed, it is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. It wasn't like I had this heavy feeling on me sitting that, okay, now I'm 10, 20, 30 hours of story behind my friends, and now I'm this amount of gear level behind my friends if I ever want to return to it. So, and that changed. That's not how that game functions anymore, so it's not like I can just say that, oh, that's a place for me, the casual scrub that practically has no time at any point whatsoever. I suppose just the point of this video is that if you're considering picking up Final Fantasy XIV, it is a great game. It is a great game for when I don't have network errors. But just remember that it is high intensity, classic style MMO with the gear grind, with expansions, with story that keeps on moving. And you're gonna get caught up in that wheel. You're gonna have to spin with it too. You're gonna have to continue playing. You can't just get off. Or when you get off, the amount of stuff that you need to catch up to will continue piling. And it will, at the very least, give you mixed feelings, because you will remember how great the game was and still is. And you will want to get back to it. And also simultaneously know that you don't have the time to catch up anymore. That's it. That's the video. For more rambles or me trying small single player games or me playing a single player game once a week, subscribe, I guess. Toodaloo.